My dear friends, let's take some tzedakah, put in the pushka. And as we usually do on Fridays, share stories. I want to share with you a story, and this is following our conversation of yesterday regarding retiring. And we had established that according to the Torah, retiring is not part of a person's contract with God. You might be able to retire from the company you're working with, but when God says, "V'hoyu li alvim," the Levites are for me, and you're working for me, there's no retiring. There is different job opportunities. There's different stages. Sometimes you work harder, you can work lesser, physical, strenuous jobs, but we always have to be in servitude. We always have to serve and work for God. And this is true for everyone because we're all working for God. Everything we do is actually to fulfill our mission that God gave us in this world, which is to build the Mikdash, build this world into becoming a holy temple for God. Having said all this, I reminded myself a very interesting story about retiring. This particular individual that I knew very well, his name was Jerry, a former soldier in the Second World War, heroically fought, and after the war he became a civil engineer and of construction of big magnitude, airport, huge complexes. That was his thing, and apparently was very good at it. One day he comes to me after a class. He would come regularly to a certain class that I was giving, and he says, Rabbi, I really need to ask a question to the Rebbe. This is an individual who never met the Rebbe. His level of observance in Yiddishkeit was very specific. He had his own thing, but a very warm Jew, and he had tremendous, tremendous love and respect for the Rebbe. Often he would write to the Rebbe to ask advice, and this is now after Gimel Tammuz, after the Rebbe's physical passing, and he says, I would love to have the Rebbe's advice. How can I get that? I said, look, what many Chassidim do today, they open one of the Rebbe's correspondence books called the Igros Kodesh, Holy Letters. You write your note, your letter, you take one of those books at random, you put it in anywhere at random, and then you see what the Rebbe writes on that page, and usually there is an answer. Where do I get a book like this? He says, I have them at home, I have a Chabad house. No, I want to get my own book. I says, go to the local bookstore, Rodel's bookstore, and you'll find it over there. Okay, I'll do so. Anyway, the next week, he calls me up and says, I'm embarrassed. I went into the bookstore, and there I saw the Rebbe's book on the counter, right there displayed. I got so excited I didn't even have to ask for the book. It's there. I took the book and I opened it up just to make sure that it is the right book that I'm looking at. And there is a whole chapter from the Rebbe about retiring. Why am I saying this? He says, because my question really was that I should retire. I haven't had a job for many years. There's no construction of this magnitude that fits my profession. I'm paying every year, he says, to renew the license. It's been 10 years I didn't have a job. What's the point of me keeping that license as a civil engineer? I might as well just call it quits completely and retire officially. I'm anyway retired, I don't have any work. So that was my question. And there I come in and I see a whole chapter where the Rebbe encourages people to keep on working, not to retire. He says, I got so excited I just ran out of the store, I left the book over there. So please give me their phone number to apologize to them. But he tells me, I want to tell you something. As I said, I haven't had a job, I haven't had a contract for about 10 years. Shortly, a few days right after the Rebbe's response to me, and I accepted as such not to retire, I get a phone call from Saudi Arabia. They're on a huge project, city, and they would like me to be overseeing the project. I told them, I'm Jewish, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. So So he was told, don't worry about it. We'll know how to protect you. He says, I'd rather not look for protection, and I'm comfortable to be here in Montreal. I don't want to put myself. So they told him, look, don't come to Saudi Arabia. We'll send you the plans. We want you to overlook, see them. He says, look at this, Rabbi. 10 years I don't have a job. I asked the Rebbe if I should retire. The Rebbe says no. And as soon as I accepted it, I got myself an amazing, amazing contract. So, Rebbe, you're answering those questions, but we want to see you here. Come already with the Beis Hamikdash, and let's do this huge construction which is coming already straight from heaven, the Beis Hamikdash in Yerushalayim.